Good morning, students. I hope all of you are safe at your home. Last time, when I communicated with you over WhatsApp group or Google Classroom, I sent a PDF on power amplifiers uh, notes from Unit 2. After that, I realized that I can help you in some extent by explaining these PDFs to you so that you can understand these topics easily. So let's start with the topic power amplifiers. As we hear these power amplifier word, our minds start recalling some basic ideas about the amplifier which we have studied in the previous sections, such as BJT amplifiers, small signal analysis, and DC biasing of amplifiers. So, a bipolar junction transistor can act as an amplifier if uh, it is properly biased. Properly biased means base emitter junction is in forward bias and collector base junction is in reverse bias. So the first question comes in our mind whether the classic amplifiers and uh, power amplifiers are same. So the answer is no. In classic amplifiers, the value of beta is much greater than 100, whereas in power amplifier, the value of beta, that is current gain in common emitter configuration, is always less than the value 100. So the power amplifier BJTs, so the transistors used in power amplifiers are different by construction as compared to the classic amplifiers. Now power amplifiers also those classic amplifiers are used for amplifying the small signal analysis, but in many applications large amount of output current or voltage is required at the output section. These power amplifiers are mainly uh, used at the output stage of a system which drives the low impedance loudspeakers that require high peak current at the output stage. So these power amplifiers are used at the output section of a system where large peak current is required. This cannot be achieved with the conventional bipolar junction transistors. So the first point of this slide is the main operating characteristics of an ideal amplifier uh, are linearity, signal gain, efficiency, and power output. The term linearity means uh, the out the power amplifier must be a linear device so that it can follow the change at the input section. That means the waveform received at output must be similar to the waveform applied at the input. If any device follow this characteristic, that device can be categorized as a linear device. The gain of the device must be greater so that the output voltage is much greater as compared to input signals. Efficiency is the main terms in power amplifiers. The efficiency always measured in terms of output power with respect to the applied input power through the transistors. So the power amplifiers are different from the classic amplifiers, and these power amplifiers are also categorized in different classes. these classes are differentiate with one another with the different criteria such as conduction angle, power efficiency, power output, and linearity in their outputs. So power amplifiers produce a different amount of output signal for different conduction angles. Conduction angles means the amplifiers provides the output for different cycles of the applied input signal. So far we have discussed the few terms related with the power amplifiers and what is difference between the classic amplifiers and power amplifiers. The few points must be noted here that in power amplifiers the current gain, that is beta, is always less than 100, and these power amplifiers are used at the output section of any circuitry to drive the uh, speakers in most of the cases and require high peak current. So the power required at the output section is greater, so normal conventional amplifier cannot be used at these in place of these amplifiers. Now category 2, the second slide, we will explain I will explain this slide at the end of the this explanation. So coming to the third slide, that is category of power amplifier. The power amplifiers are categorized in two ways. The first is classically controlled conduction angle amplifier, in which class A, class B, class C, class AB amplifiers falls under this category. Class D, class E, and class F, G, S, T, etc. are categorized under switching amplifier, which is used in digital circuitry and pulse width modulation. In classically controlled conduction angle amplifiers, the switching transistors used in these amplifiers always conduct in active regions. That means the transistor will never enter into the cutoff region. Only active region is used for amplifying the action, whereas in switching amplifiers the transistors are either fully on or fully off. So you can say that in switching amplifiers the transistor operates either in saturation or in cutoff region. So there are two category of power amplifiers: classically controlled conduction angle amplifiers and switching amplifiers. Many authors also classified the power amplifiers based on their power efficiency and linearity, but all the categories comes fine ultimately comes under these two uh, power amplifiers. So this slide represents the classification of amplifiers based on their conduction angles. In this table, the first amplifier is class A amplifier. Class is a term used to categorize the power amplifiers. So class A amplifiers provide the output for entire cycle of the input applied signal. This full cycle or 360 degree of conduction is with respect to the applied input signal. So the class A amplifier provide the output for entire cycle of the input signal. So the conduction angle for the class A amplifier is 2 pi or 360 degree. Due to the conduction of entire full cycle, the class A amplifiers provides high linearity, low signal distortion, and high gain. So a class A amplifier is the most commonly used power amplifiers. The only drawback in class A amplifier is their power efficiency that lies between 25% to 50%. The next in this category is class B amplifier. Class B amplifier produces the output for half cycle of the applied AC input signal. That means in class B amplifier the output is obtained only for 180 degree of phase of input signal. That means the output is obtained for only half cycle of the input signal, and due to the half cycle conduction, class B amplifiers produces high distortion at the output section. So the class B amplifier amplify a signal in a great extent. The power efficiency of class B amplifier is about 78.5%, which is much greater as compared to class A amplifier. But these class B amplifiers have high distortion. Specifically, distortion occurs at when the input voltage crosses its zero voltage. We will explain it later in when we discuss the class B amplifier in detail. The drawbacks of class A amplifier and class B amplifier are: in class A amplifier, uh, the power efficiency is very low, in between 25 to 50%, whereas in class B the amplifier the uh, signal distortion is very high. To improve or to avoid these two problems in class A and class B amplifier, class AB amplifier is designed in which the output is obtained for slightly more than half cycle of the input signals. So the conduction angle for the class AB amplifier is greater than the pi and less than 2 pi, that is in between 180 degree to 360 degree. Class AB amplifier provides power efficiency of about 70-80%, uh, whereas there is no signal distortion at all as compared to class B amplifier. So it provides a high power efficiency, linearity, and high gain. Next in this category is class C amplifier, that provide the output for slightly less than half cycle of the conduction angle. More specifically, the conduction angle for the class C amplifier is about 90 degree. These four class amplifiers are in our syllabus, so we will discuss in detail in few next slides. So let us start the detailed discussion of these amplifiers, starting with the class A power amplifiers. As we know that class A power amplifiers provide the output for entire full cycle of the input signal. The input to this amplifier will be applied at this terminal. In this circuit, C1 and C2 are coupling capacitors. This circuit is similar to the circuit used for self biasing of transistors. When we were studying the biasing of BJT, we have discussed this circuit in detail in self biasing or voltage divider circuit. So we can obtain the BCE output voltage, collector to emitter voltage, and collector current by analyzing this circuit in DC analysis. So we can also draw the IC and VCE curve, that is output characteristic for this voltage divider configuration. And we can also draw the AC load line with the help of the input and output equation obtained from applying KVL at the output section and the input section of this circuitry. That equations will be similar to the previous equations obtained in biasing of the circuits. So the when we draw the load line at IC and VCE axis, if we put the VCE equals to 0 in equation, we can obtain the maximum value of collector current. And if we put the IC equals to 0 in second equation obtained by applying KVL and in input and output load, then we can get a maximum value of BCE output voltage. The Q point, also known as operating point, we have also discussed this term Q point in first unit. So we are already aware with this term. This Q point always moves with this load line, so it can move upward or downward based on the values used by the circuit, or values of resistors used by this circuit. So by changing the value of R1, R2, RL and RE, we can change the location of these Q points. For class A amplifiers, it is highly required that the operating point must lie in between the Q points, that means in between the load lines, so that the entire cycle of input signal is used for providing the output at the output section of the power amplifiers. So to achieve high linearity and gain, the output stage of class A amplifier is biased conducting all the time. The power efficiency of this class A amplifier lies between 25 to 50%. The derivation of this power efficiency is in out notes, in PDF notes, which can be easily understand by you, since there is no much mathematical equations. So you can easily understand that. So coming to the next class, that is class B power amplifier. In class B power amplifier, the maximum efficiency is about 78.5%, and these class of amplifiers provide the output for half cycle of the input signal. That means the conduction angle for the class B amplifier is 180 degree. The circuit arrangement for class B amplifier is given in this diagram, and the IC and VCE curve is given in this diagram. The IC and VC, from the IC and VCE curve, it is clear that the Q point for the class B amplifier is at horizontal axis, where IC equals to 0. Due to the presence of Q point at horizontal axis, only half cycle of the input signal is applied at the output, applied or received at the output section. Let us understand the operation or working of this push-pull class B power amplifiers. The input is applied at the primary of the transformer TR1, and this transformer splits the input signal in two parts, and these two signals are 180 degree out of phase, and these different signals applied at the base of the two identical transistors, NPN transistors. The term identical means the value of beta for these two transistors will be same and the other device characteristics or parameter will be same for both the transistors. These two transistors are biased with the BCC from primary binding of transformer TR2. Now for the positive half cycle of the input, transistor T1 will conduct whereas T2 will be off state. Why? When a positive voltage is applied at the base of a transistor, the T1 will be in active region, and when the negative signal is applied at T2 whose base, the output the T2 transistor will be in cutoff state. So T1 will conduct and T2 will be in off states, and the current IC1 is received at the primary binding of TR2. Now coming to the next half cycle. For the next half cycle, T1 will be off and T2 will be on, and the next cycle of collector current is received at the transformer R2 primary binding. Now these two half cycle of collector current is combined with the transformer TR2 secondary binding at the output section to receive a continuous output signal. So due to these two splits and half cycles of current, class B amplifier suffers from heavy signal distortion, and that distortion is known as a crossover distortion. Crossover distortion can be easily explained with this with the first graph, that is graph between the output and theta, phase angle and output of the signal. The crossover distortion occurs when the input signal changes or crosses from one transistor to another at 0 voltage point. It produces an amount of distortion to the output wave shape. We can understand it easily with the previous slides, that when the transistor T1 conducts, transistor T2 is in off, and when T2 conducts, T1 is in off states. So both transistors cannot conduct simultaneously. Now when the input changes from 0 to when the input changes from positive half cycle to negative half cycle, at this point the input voltage is 0. That means at this point none of the both transistors are inactive or in operating condition, and this region is known as a flat spot or dead band zone. This can be explained better by this picture, where this picture represents that when the input voltage is less than 0.7 volt, the transistor T1 will not conduct, and when the input is greater than minus 0.7 volt, the transistor T2 will not conduct. So there is a zone, when voltage zone, when both transistor will not conduct, and due to the unconducting condition of these two transistors, a flat band or dead band created at the output section, where the output current is 0 whether the input is greater than 0 volt. To avoid this distortion or to eliminate this distortion, there must be some arrangement so that these transistor can conduct for more than half cycle of the input signal. This is overcome by the next power amplifier known as class AB amplifier. So in class B amplifier there is a crossover distortion. Crossover distortion occurs when the input crosses the zero voltage level. At that time transistor T1 and T2 both are off simultaneously, and due to this condition a flat band or dead band created at every crossover points, and this kind of distortion in the output waveform is defined as a crossover distortion. So to avoid this distortion, the next power amplifier were designed named as a class AB amplifier. Class AB amplifier have all the qualities. Class AB amplifiers have all the qualities of class A amplifier, that is it is linear, uh, low signal distortion, high gain, and it also overcome the problem of class B amplifiers, and it has a high efficiency comparable to the class B amplifiers. So there is a slight circuit arrangement changes in class AB amplifier as compared to the class B amplifier. The two resistors are connected with the uh, diode D1 and D2, and one NPN and one PNP transistor is used in this circuit. The first we will see the output IV characteristics of the class AB amplifier. Here we can see that the Q point is near to the horizontal axis, and it is adjusted in such a way that the output is obtained for more than a half cycle of the input signal. Half cycle is completed here, and output is received through the first transistor for more than a half cycle. That means class AB amplifier conducts for more than a half cycle. That means the conduction angle lies between pi to 2 pi, more specifically 270 degree, you can say 270 degree phase angle of the input signals. Let us understand the operation of the class AB amplifier by applying the input signal V in sinusoidal input signal at this terminal. When input is applied at this terminal, and if the Bin is greater than 0.7 volt, the D2 will conduct and D1 will be in off states. This will make the PNP transistor. This PNP transistor is in active region. Why? Since the D1 is in off state, this BCC is directly connected to the base of the NPN transistors and collector current. This NPN transistor is in on state, and it directly connects the output terminal of PNP transistor to BCC. Since BCC is directly connected to the emitter section of PNP transistor, and B in a positive voltage is applied at the base of this terminal, so this PNP transistor is in active region and the output is received according to the input section. Now for the negative half cycle, when the input voltage is below minus 0.7 volt, that means above minus 0.7 volt, that means minus 0.6 volt, minus 0.5 volt, the D1 will not conduct At that time, transistor T2 is continuously conducting, so the output is received for greater than the half cycle of the input signal. And once the input is below minus 0.7 volt, diode D1 will conduct, and similar operation is obtained from the transistor T1. So class B amplifier overcome the problem of signal distortion and poor efficiency as compared to the class A and class B amplifier. Now the next power amplifier, you can also find the derivation of class B power amplifier maximum efficiency in your notes, PDF notes, that can also easily understand, that you can easily understand. There is no much complexity in the analysis. So moving to the next, class C power amplifier. Class C power amplifier is biased in such a way that it conducts only for the half of a half, only conduct for 90-degree phase angle of the input signals. When the collector current flow less than half cycle of the input signal, that means the conduction angle for the class C amplifier lies in between the 0 to 180 degree, most preferably around 90-degree phase angle, half of the half cycle. And the conduction angle for class C is less than 180 degree. This kind of biasing a circuit improve the efficiency of the class C amplifier around 80 degree to the power amplifiers. But the class C amplifiers suffer from heavy distortion at the output signal, since the output is received only for around 90-degree phase angle of the input signal. Output is heavily distorted, so class C amplifiers are rarely used in any application due to its disadvantage of suffering from heavy distortion. So thank you very much for listening this PPT presentation. I hope it will help you to understand the basic concept of power amplifier. Few things must be understood